Hi everyone, welcome to the fifth episode of the Prince2 Introduction series. Let's do a quick recap of what we have learned in the earlier 4 episodes. We looked at the importance of having a project management method in any organization. We looked at what is a project, what is project management. We also understood a few reasons why the projects fail. And we also looked the 6 aspects of project performance, the 5 characteristics of a project, and also we looked at what Prince2 offers and what it does not offer. And I just mentioned about the 4 integrated elements, which are principles, themes, processes, and tailoring Prince2 to a project environment. In this video, I would like to talk about one of the integrated elements, which is the principles. So what are the principles that Prince2 recommends? But these are good practices that the project members should adhere to in order to be successful in the project. So what are these principles? Well, there are 7 principles. These principles are universal and they can be applied to any projects. So the 7 principles, what are recommended by Prince2, are proven and tested across several projects, across several industries, so they can be used in any project. And these principles are proven over the years, and these principles are adopted based on the projects that have succeeded and that have failed as well. And these principles provide the method and they add confidence amongst the team member and particularly the practitioner by giving him the ability to influence and shape how the project will be managed. So there are 7 principles. Let's start looking at continuous business justification. A Prince2 project has continuous business justification. A requirement for a Prince2 project is that there is a justifiable reason to start the project, and the justification should remain valid throughout the life of the project. And also the justification should be well documented and it should be approved by all the stakeholders. Let's take an example. Replacement of storage tank will improve the efficiency of water distribution system by eliminating wastage of water by 1.8 million gallons per year. The investment is about 400,000 and it can be recovered in a year by the savings of 1.8 million gallons of water per year. So this kind of justification should be there in all the project and it should remain valid all through the project. And if for whatever reason the project can no longer be justified, the project should be stopped. Stopping the project, if no longer the business justification is valid, is actually considered as a big contribution to the organization, as the funds and the resources can be reinvested in other more worthwhile projects. The next principle, learn from experience. Prince2 project teams learn from previous experience. These lessons are sought, they're recorded and acted upon throughout the life of the project. In Prince2, learning from experience happens in all stages of project. That is, when you're starting a project, as the project is progressing, and also after the project is closed. The lessons are recorded and passed on to the future projects. So when starting a project, you always need to look into the previous or similar projects and try and review to see what lessons can be applied for your current project. If a project is known to the organization, the lessons learned may be available within the organization. If the project is new to the organization, there may be some experts within the organization, or the organization may engage an external expert to help them on the project. As the project progresses, the project should continue to learn, and the lessons learned should be included in all the reviews and reports. As the project closes, the project should pass on the lessons that can be used in the future projects. It's a duty of every project member to seek the lessons learned. Defined roles and responsibility. A Prince2 project has defined and agreed roles and responsibilities within an organization structure that engages the business, user, and supplier stakeholder interests. Well, the primary stakeholders of all the Prince2 projects are business sponsors, users, and suppliers. Business sponsors are those who endorse the objectives and ensure that the business investment provides value for money. And we have users. Users are those who, after the project is completed, will use the products to enable them to gain the intended benefits. Suppliers are those who provide the resources and expertise required by the project. All three stakeholder interests need to be represented effectively in the project management team. The next principle, managed by stages. A Prince2 project is planned, monitored, and controlled on a stage-by-stage basis. Management stages provide senior management with control points at major intervals throughout the project. At the end of each stage, the project's status should be assessed, business case and plans reviewed to check if the project is viable. Planning in Prince2 is done in the following ways. You plan the high level for overall project, then you have a detailed plan for the current stage. And also the number of stages that are required in a project depends on the complexity, priority, clarity, and on the scope. Shorter the stages, the senior management will have to offer more time and support during the project. Longer the stage, the burden on the senior management will be reduced, since project manager will be overseeing the other activities. Managed by exception. A Prince2 project has defined tolerances for each project objective to establish limits of delegated authority. Well, the project manager has a tolerance to play with when it comes to performance variables like time, cost, quality, scope, risk, and benefits. For example, if you take the time performance target, you can always have a plus or minus an amount of time on the target completion dates. If you talk about cost, it can always be a plus or minus an amount on the planned budget. And on the scope, you can always have the permissible variation of the planned products. You can always, the scope can be defined like mandatory requirements plus or minus the desirable requirements. Let's take an example. If the project cost goes up by about 2% and the tolerance level for the PM is about plus or minus 10%, then the PM can make the decision himself without referring to the upper level management. Whereas if the cost increases beyond the tolerance levels, let's say 12%, then the PM will have to refer the matter to the layer above him, which is normally the project board. To summarize, each level will have clear definition of the tolerance limits, and this enables efficiency in the system. The next principle is focus on products. A Prince2 project focuses on the definition and delivery of products, particularly the quality requirements. Description provides clarity as it defines the product's purpose, composition, derivation, quality, criteria, and quality method, and also it helps to determine the resource requirements, dependencies, and activities. So without a product focus, projects are exposed to several major risks such as acceptance disputes, rework, uncontrolled change. The user may be dissatisfied, and most of the cases underestimation of the activities. The last principle is the tailoring of the Prince2 process to suit your project environment. The purpose of tailoring is to ensure the project method relates to the project environment. If you have a practitioner who is applying the Prince2 blindly on all the projects, then the organization is not gaining any benefits. That is, the level of control required for a multi-million-dollar project is much greater than what is required for a project which is only costing about $100,000. So the number of stages required for a high-risk project is more compared to a low-risk project.